And now, 2 rebrands, 2 flops, and 1 awakening. That's the focus of tonight's angle. Well, we have breaking news tonight, just in from Fox Business. We got a statement. It's from Cracker Barrel. It's doing a U-turn on its disastrous rebrand. Here's the statement. We thank our guests for sharing your voices and your love for Cracker Barrel. We said we would listen, and we have. Our new logo is going away, and our old-timer will remain. Well, that's good news. They didn't make any statement on their lousy interior renovations, making that all look white and bland, but we're waiting for that turnaround as well. That might take a while. But it was an admission of failure and a move to stop what appeared to many to be a woke rebranding of an iconic restaurant chain. But despite their U-turn, it's worth remembering and understanding how this happened. Now, last year, CEO Julie Masino rolled out her 3-year plan to freshen up the restaurant chain.
Our goal is to take what people love about Cracker Barrel and open the aperture a little bit so that more people love Cracker Barrel. So we want to appeal to all generations.
Sounds nice. So they plan to slowly but surely undermine what the brand stood for all along, which was Americana. It was a feel that harkens back to a simpler time. We all know it. But like all propaganda, the goal for the time of the rebrand was to convince you that the rebrand is what people really wanted.
Not only are our guests loving them, they're saying things like lighter, brighter, fresher. Feels like my Cracker Barrel, but they're also saying it's still the warm hospitality, it's still the food that I love, the decor is still on the walls, they love it, and our team members love them as well.
Friends of mine say it looks like a veterinarian office. But Julie kept going, the hard sell kept happening in June.
The feedback and the buzz is so good, not only from our customers, but from our team members. They want to work in a wonderful restaurant, so we're doing everything for our guests and our team members.
Well, that was August, obviously, but the consumers we know now revolted. The stock, well, it had been struggling for a while, but the decline over the last 3 weeks since that new logo rollout was a disaster. Sorry for the pun, it hit the bottom of the barrel. So what was the motivation here? Because when you really think this through, no one in his or her right mind would have thought that going from this, featuring Uncle Herschel, to this, blah, computer-generated nothing, would have appealed to core customers in Paducah, Kentucky, or East Ridge, Tennessee. So what did happen? Was this a simple corporate boo-boo? Or was this actual hostility to traditional country culture somewhere in the corporation itself? Online commentator Robbie Starbuck pointed to Cracker Barrel board member Gilbert Davila, who was put on the board, interestingly, during the height of the George Floyd hysteria. Starbuck asked, what qualified Davila for this board seat? Well, he owned a DEI consulting and strategy firm for 15 years that focuses on pushing DEI and DEI advertising. Well, do you think Davila, with his background and his views, loved the idea of any rebrand or any brand celebrating country culture? From Fox Business, Davila's LinkedIn page states that he's widely recognized for his multicultural market knowledge and his proven track record on how to best embed multicultural perspective into a corporation's entire operation. Well, that's what it certainly looks like might have happened here. In 2020, Cracker Barrel was feeling the heat, remember? And they put this woke fool on its board. So a lot of people thought, well, it just deserved everything it was going to get for ditching what made them special. And in the process, insulting middle America and giving in to corporate groupthink. Well, Trump thought, look, he saw this and he was being magnanimous. He urged them to do a U-turn, saying Cracker Barrel should go back to the old logo and admit a mistake based on customer response, the ultimate poll, and manage the company better than ever. They got $1 billion worth of free publicity if they play their cards right. Very tricky to do, but a great opportunity. Well, again, Trump is right again. I mean, and they did exactly what he said to do, except for the bad renovations on the inside of the restaurants. But let's go to the Democrat Party, because their party's rebranding effort makes Cracker Barrels look like Steve Jobs returned to Apple in the early 90s. They got their tushes handed to them last election. They're losing voters across multiple demographics, their customer base, because of their terrible policies. Their woke, pro-criminal, pro-illegal alien, pro-trans nonsense that has led to a revolt of normal people from party ranks.
The Democratic brand right now has about the appeal with the American voter as the Cracker Barrel rebrand has with the American consumers. Bad, bad, bad. What are you doing? Oh, my goodness gracious.
So how do they turn it around? Well, at their strategy meetings, they keep showcasing what the voters rejected last time, but then they turn up the nasty.
The privilege of my lifetime was stand beside someone we know was the most qualified and would have been a fantastic president in a President Harris. We wouldn't wake up every day to a bunch of on TV and a bunch of nonsense. We would wake up to an adult with compassion and dignity and vision and leadership doing the work. Not a man-child crying about whatever's wrong with him. May his fat ankles find something today.
So you actually have to be really funny to make that work. Imagine being a party that thinks they lost in November to Donald Trump because that guy wasn't clear enough about, the issues he just referenced, or because they didn't sell Kamala Harris enough, or because they weren't pro-DEI enough.
We're not shying away from diversity as a strength and equity as a goal and inclusion being the air we breathe. That's what we should be doing.
Now, when Republicans kick off big meetings, they begin with a solemn prayer and maybe the national anthem to celebrate America. But the DNC, they want to signal to everyone that they hate the American story.
Let's talk about the land for a second. The DNC acknowledges and honors the Dakota Oyate, the Dakota people, who are the original stewards of the lands and waters of Minneapolis. As Democrats, I ask of every one of you to not allow land acknowledgments like these to simply be the checking of a box. Be curious, ask questions.
Ask questions. Okay. The Democrats are phonies on this issue because she wants to ask one, don't just check a box. Well, let's settle this once and for all, shall we? Democrats, if you think we're living on stolen land, put your money and your property where your meaningless words are right now and give the land back to the tribes. So Tim Walz, move out of your house, and Viking Stadium, sorry, bye-bye, and all of Hennepin County in Minneapolis, Edina Country Club, Lake Minnetonka, give it all up, liberals, or shut up. Man, the Democrats, they are just simply lost. And Trump, he knows it.
The new box that they've fallen into is crime. There was a consultant on one of the shows this morning I was watching. I thought he was very good. He's a Democrat consultant, and he was screaming, no, no, don't let him do this to you. It's another trap. It's another trap. Trump is saying he's against crime, and they're for crime. No, he's going, it was funny. No, it's a trap. Don't do it.
But they can't help themselves. Failed mayors like Chicago's Brandon Johnson, they throw down the race card because that's all they can do. They don't want to address the real problems. We're going to explode that later on in the show. But their attempt to deflect questions about runaway crime, it's not working, as this CNN reporter found when interviewing Chicago residents about the supposedly improving crime rate.
My first reaction was that this is a good thing. I think that the governor as well as the mayor should be on board with it just so we can get a bit more of security in Chicago the way that we need.
The crime has dropped since 2024. Do you feel like the city feels safer?
No, not at all. No, especially with the police being defunded.
The reporter's like, can I buy a vowel? So she likes Trump's idea of federalizing some of the law enforcement to improve the city's safety, and she doesn't think crime's getting better. The Democrat rebrand odyssey is just another ride on their carousel of failure. But it's all they know. Standing in opposition to Trump and common sense. So they're simply incapable of dropping their support for trans athletes, even knowing their views are overwhelmingly unpopular. And again, Donald Trump, better than anyone else out there, knows how to capitalize on their spiral.
They said that's an 80-20. No, it's a 97-3. You can't have a 7-foot guy playing basketball with the women. You know, it's just one of those little problems in life. And we all have our place. That's okay. I've got my place, too.
Of course, Democrats don't believe they have a policy problem, not on that issue, not on any issue. They think it's just all a messaging problem. Again, this is stupid radicalism and a refusal to admit that they need to appeal not to a fringe, not to the same liberal elites who got them into this mess, but to a core constituency, working class Americans. And you don't need to be a rebranding consultant to tell you what they want. The middle class, regular people, they want safe streets. They want decent education for their kids. And they want a real shot at prosperity. And that's what Donald Trump is delivering. Results. And that is the best branding of all. And that's The Angle.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.